Welcome to District Command Central, your go-to source for the latest news and updates on the Washington Commanders. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button and ring the bell so you never miss a play. The Washington Commanders find themselves at a critical juncture in the 2025 NFL season, and their search for a reliable running back has suddenly become a top priority. After the devastating news that Austin Ekeler, one of the league's most versatile and explosive backs, suffered a torn Achilles, the Commanders' backfield has been thrown into uncertainty. Ekeler's injury is severe enough to sideline him for the remainder of the season, leaving Washington with a glaring hole at the position. Suddenly, the team is forced to think creatively, and one potential solution could come from an unexpected source: the Cleveland Browns. Pro Football Network writer Tim Crean recently highlighted the Browns' running back Jerome Ford as a candidate who could be traded to Washington, a move that could make significant waves for both franchises. The timing, the need, and the potential upside all seem to align for a deal that could reshape the Commanders' season. The Browns' backfield has quickly become one of the most crowded in the NFL, creating an interesting dynamic for players like Ford. In the early weeks of the season, fourth-round pick Dylan Sampson carried the load with 12 carries and 8 catches in Week 1, showing that Cleveland is willing to diversify touches among multiple backs. Meanwhile, undrafted rookie Raheem Sanders managed to grab the team's only rushing touchdown, highlighting the depth and competition in the Browns system. With second-round pick Quinshon Judkins now ready to contribute, Ford has increasingly found himself in a surplus situation. Crean noted that while Ford may not be a bell cow back capable of handling every snap, his skill set makes him an ideal second or third option, someone who can take occasional carries and provide a boost to a contending team like the Commanders. This combination of depth in Cleveland and need in Washington sets the stage for a trade that could be mutually beneficial, offering Ford a chance to prove himself while giving the Commanders a crucial piece for their playoff ambitions. For Washington, the urgency is clear. Rookie seventh-round pick Ja'Cory Cross-Merritt has stepped into the backfield role in Ekeler's absence, but relying on a rookie to carry the workload for an entire season is a risky proposition. Alongside Cross-Merritt, Jeremy McNichols and Chris Rodriguez Jr. round out the group, yet questions about durability and consistency linger. In a league where injuries are inevitable, having a seasoned and reliable running back can mean the difference between a playoff run and a disappointing finish. Enter Jerome Ford, a player who has already demonstrated flashes of productivity in the NFL. While he may not replicate his 2023 season when he rushed for over 800 yards, Ford has the ability to be an impactful complementary back. His presence could take some pressure off the younger players and provide the Commanders with a much-needed offensive spark as they navigate the challenging NFC landscape. From the Browns' perspective, trading Ford also makes sense. With a crowded backfield featuring multiple rookies, Ford's role has become increasingly limited. Through 2 games this season, he has totaled just 12 carries for 39 yards, numbers that don't reflect his potential but do illustrate his diminished opportunity in Cleveland. Moreover, Ford is set to become a free agent at the end of the season, which could make the Browns more inclined to deal him now rather than risk losing him without compensation. A trade to Washington could provide Ford with a fresh start and a chance to carve out a more meaningful role on a team actively competing for a playoff berth. It's a situation that aligns timing, opportunity, and necessity, and if the Commanders act decisively, it could address one of their most pressing positional concerns. Analysts have also pointed out that Ford's skill set fits the type of running back the Commanders need. While he may not dominate the workload, his ability to step in as a first-team contributor if necessary makes him a versatile option. His experience and past success with the Browns could translate well into the Commanders' offensive scheme, especially when paired with their existing backfield. The team could use him to rotate snaps, give their younger backs a breather, or even exploit certain defensive matchups where Ford's strengths shine. In essence, Ford provides depth, reliability, and the potential for incremental production that could prove decisive in tight games. For a team aiming to remain competitive while grappling with injuries, those qualities are invaluable. Washington's urgency is heightened by the nature of the NFL season. With every game carrying playoff implications, teams cannot afford to rely solely on rookies and untested backups. Ekeler's injury has forced the Commanders to reassess their strategy, and adding a player like Ford could stabilize the offense. The potential trade underscores how crucial depth and versatility are in the modern NFL. Teams that adapt quickly to injuries, optimize their roster, and make shrewd personnel moves often emerge as the ones capable of sustained success. Ford's addition could provide the kind of mid-season adjustment that propels a team from playoff hopeful to legitimate contender. In a league where momentum is everything, a move like this could be the catalyst the Commanders need to keep their season on track. The narrative also highlights an interesting subplot in player careers and team strategy. For Ford, the move represents more than just a change of scenery. It's an opportunity to re-establish himself as a significant contributor in the league. His 2023 season demonstrated his capabilities, and while his 2025 start has been modest, a fresh environment with clearly defined responsibilities could unlock his potential. The Commanders, for their part, are betting that his experience and complementary skill set can seamlessly integrate into their offense. In an era where player movement and situational opportunities define careers, Ford's potential trade exemplifies the dynamic nature of NFL roster management and how quickly circumstances can shift for both teams and players alike. Ultimately, the potential Ford to Commanders trade illustrates the interplay between need, opportunity, and strategic foresight in professional football. Washington's backfield dilemma, Cleveland's depth surplus, and Ford's impending free agency converge to create a scenario ripe for a mid-season adjustment. It's the type of story that captures the essence of the NFL, where injuries, emerging talent, and shrewd trades intersect to shape the destiny of a team. As fans watch the Commanders navigate the weeks ahead, the possibility of Ford joining the roster adds a layer of intrigue and anticipation. Will he become the spark that reignites Washington's offense? Can the Commanders leverage his talents to push deeper into the NFC playoff race? Only time will tell, but the circumstances suggest that this is more than just a routine transaction. It's a pivotal moment in a season already defined by unexpected twists. The story resonates beyond just the XS and OS of the field. It's about timing, opportunity, and the delicate balance of roster construction in a sport where margins are razor-thin. The Commanders are a team in transition, responding to an injury that could have derailed their aspirations, and they are looking for solutions that blend experience with adaptability. Ford represents exactly that kind of solution, a player with proven ability, yet one whose current situation demands a fresh start. Cleveland, on the other hand, must manage talent, expectations, and roster space, ensuring that each decision maximizes their long-term competitive potential. It's the type of calculated risk-taking that separates teams who merely participate from those who contend. For fans of both franchises, the unfolding situation offers drama, strategy, and a glimpse into the complex chess game that is NFL roster management. As the season progresses, every carry, every snap, and every decision carries weight, and Washington's pursuit of Jerome Ford exemplifies that reality. With rookie Ja'Cory Cross-Merritt already thrust into the spotlight, the addition of a seasoned back like Ford could relieve pressure, provide stability, and inject new energy into the offense. Meanwhile, for Ford, it's a chance to reset, to contribute meaningfully, and to showcase that he can still be an integral piece of a playoff-caliber team. The potential trade is not merely a transaction. It's a storyline rich with implications for team strategy, player development, and the unpredictable drama of the NFL season. Fans, analysts, and insiders alike will be watching closely, eager to see how this story develops and how it might influence the Commanders' push toward contention. In the grand scheme, the situation underscores one of the fundamental truths of football. Success often hinges on adaptability. Teams that recognize a problem, identify a solution, and execute decisively can transform a setback into an advantage. The Commanders' potential acquisition of Jerome Ford is emblematic of that approach, a response to injury, a calculated risk, and an opportunity to strengthen the roster at a critical juncture. As the season unfolds, the move could prove pivotal, providing Washington with the depth, experience, and versatility needed to remain competitive. For Jerome Ford, it represents a new chapter, one where his talents may finally receive the recognition and usage they deserve. Together, team and player have the chance to rewrite the narrative of this season, turning adversity into opportunity and uncertainty into potential success. The next few weeks will be telling, and the NFL world will be watching closely, knowing that the ripple effects of this trade could extend far beyond a single roster spot. If you're enjoying the coverage, make sure to smash that like button and drop a comment with your thoughts on the Commanders' latest moves. We want to hear from you. The NFL world is buzzing today after an intense locker room clash reportedly erupted between Washington Commanders star wide receiver Terry McLaurin and defensive coordinator Dan Quinn. According to insiders who spoke under the condition of anonymity, the confrontation was sparked during a heated practice session, with McLaurin allegedly calling out Quinn in no uncertain terms, shouting, "This is how you end up ruining Jayden Daniels." The remark, whether fueled by genuine concern or pent-up frustration, has set off a firestorm of speculation across social media and sports talk shows. Sources say the incident took place late in practice, after the team's drills began to break down and frustrations seemed to be boiling over among several veterans who felt that the defensive schemes were putting the team in a precarious position week after week. Those close to the situation suggest that McLaurin's comments were not merely about the current game plan, but were a reaction to a series of strategic choices that, in his eyes, jeopardized the development and confidence of younger players, notably quarterback Jayden Daniels. Daniels, who has been under a microscope since being thrust into a starting role, has faced his share of ups and downs, and according to insiders, McLaurin sees a pattern emerging where overly aggressive or poorly timed defensive calls could lead to catastrophic results for the offense. In essence, McLaurin's outburst appears to have been both a protective measure and a direct challenge to Quinn's authority, an unusual move given the hierarchical structure of NFL teams, where players rarely confront coordinators so openly in front of peers. While the specifics of the clash are still being pieced together, several teammates described the scene as tense and charged, with McLaurin pacing and gesturing emphatically as he spoke. Witnesses indicate that his tone was a mixture of anger and urgency, as if he were trying to make Quinn understand the long-term consequences of his defensive schemes. He wasn't just complaining, one anonymous player said. He was warning. Terry's got this instinct where he sees how things could go wrong, and this time he really went off. The remark about Daniels, in particular, has analysts speculating that McLaurin is not only advocating for the young quarterback, but also positioning himself as a vocal leader who is willing to speak truth to power. This could have far-reaching implications for team dynamics, especially if other players decide to rally around McLaurin's perspective. Some pundits are interpreting this confrontation as a potential turning point in Washington's season. Dan Quinn, a veteran coach known for his defensive acumen, has built a reputation for being both demanding and uncompromising, but insiders suggest that his relationships with certain players have occasionally been strained. The clash with McLaurin might be the most publicized example yet of such tensions. There's talk that McLaurin's outspoken stance could embolden other players to express their own concerns, which might create friction in the short term, but ultimately lead to a more balanced and communicative locker room if handled correctly. Conversely, if Quinn feels his authority has been undermined, this could spark a power struggle that reverberates through practice sessions, game day decisions, and even personnel moves. Adding fuel to the fire, some sources indicate that McLaurin has been frustrated with the broader strategy regarding offensive line protection and quarterback reads. He allegedly believes that certain blitz packages and coverage schemes called by Quinn leave Daniels exposed unnecessarily, forcing the young quarterback into high-pressure situations that limit his growth. The wide receiver reportedly voiced his concerns not in a quiet, measured way, but with palpable intensity, pointing directly at scenarios that he believes could end Daniels' season prematurely. This level of intensity, while shocking to some, underscores McLaurin's commitment to his teammates and his willingness to confront uncomfortable truths head-on. Analysts and fans alike are now debating whether such a confrontation is a sign of leadership or a potential source of disruption. Social media has erupted with fan reactions ranging from support for McLaurin to defense of Quinn. Clips of practice footage, albeit limited and grainy, have been dissected frame by frame, with users highlighting gestures, facial expressions, and even timing of words to determine the severity of the clash. Some have speculated that the incident could lead to internal meetings, mediation sessions, or even adjustments in play calling to accommodate player concerns. Meanwhile, sports commentators are weighing the possible long-term effects on Daniels' confidence. After all, quarterback development is often as much about internal support and trust as it is about physical skill, and the interplay between a vocal wide receiver and a defensive-minded coach could significantly influence how Daniels performs under pressure in the coming weeks. Interestingly, this is not the first time McLaurin has been described as a player unafraid to voice his opinions, but it is arguably the most dramatic instance of him confronting coaching staff in such a public way. His history with Washington has shown him as both a reliable offensive weapon and a team-oriented leader, often advocating for the younger roster members. The fact that this confrontation specifically invoked Jayden Daniels' name highlights a protective instinct that resonates with teammates who are invested in the team's future. Analysts note that while such clashes are often seen as negative, they can also act as catalysts for dialogue, innovation, and ultimately stronger team cohesion if managed carefully. Meanwhile, Dan Quinn has yet to make a public statement addressing the incident, which has only amplified the speculation. Some insiders suggest that Quinn may be taking time to assess the situation, weighing the benefits of addressing it internally versus controlling the narrative publicly. Others hint that the coach may already be considering subtle adjustments to his defensive approach to mitigate the concerns raised by McLaurin. The fact that the comments centered on Jayden Daniels could indicate a genuine concern for the quarterback's well-being and long-term performance trajectory, which could resonate positively if Quinn chooses to acknowledge and act on them. Regardless, the tension is palpable, and the coming weeks may reveal whether this confrontation leads to an internal resolution or escalates into a more public storyline. There is also chatter that the incident could influence future team strategy, particularly in high-stakes games where Daniels' exposure could become a key talking point. Analysts are debating whether this clash signals a potential shift in leadership dynamics within Washington's locker room, where McLaurin might be stepping into an even more prominent role as a player advocate. Some speculate that the quarterback's relationship with his star wide receiver could strengthen as a result, while others caution that prolonged friction with coaching staff could create challenges in execution and morale. Either way, this episode has sparked an ongoing conversation about accountability, communication, and the balance of power between players and coaches in modern NFL locker rooms. For now, the situation remains a simmering rumor, one that has captured the attention of fans, media, and analysts alike. The narrative of McLaurin confronting Quinn over Jayden Daniels has all the elements of drama, tension, and uncertainty that make sports so compelling. Whether this will lead to immediate changes on the field, alter team chemistry, or remain a behind-the-scenes anecdote is yet to be seen. What is clear, however, is that Terry McLaurin is not afraid to speak up, that Jayden Daniels' development is a focal point for key players, and that Dan Quinn's defensive philosophy may be facing its most scrutinized test of the season. Fans will be watching closely, dissecting every play, gesture, and comment, waiting to see how this narrative unfolds, and whether the Commanders can turn what could have been a moment of tension into an opportunity for growth and cohesion. Thanks for tuning into District Command Central. Make sure to subscribe and follow us for all the Commanders news you need. Until next time, keep the faith and hail to the Commanders.